My name is Rowan, and if you asked anyone from my hometown who I was growing up, they'd probably say I was the responsible one, the organized one, the good kid. But none of that mattered the day I was blamed for something I didn't do. I wish I could tell you this story was a misunderstanding that got cleared up quickly. I wish I could say the truth came out, and everyone apologized, and we laughed about it years later. But that's not what happened. Because sometimes the people you love most will throw you under the bus to protect the one person they should have held accountable. And sometimes, they don't care what it costs you. It all started during my senior year of high school. I was 17, on the student committee, and tasked with organizing our spring fundraiser, a huge community raffle to raise money for our graduation trip. We were trying to send our class to New York City. The tickets were printed, the prizes were secured, and I was the one in charge of handling the cash deposits. Every dollar went into a locked metal box in my room. Every night, I double-counted it, documented the totals, and filed the receipts like I was managing a bank vault. I took that responsibility seriously, not because I was scared of getting in trouble, but because I actually cared. This was my class, my community, my future. And then, everything came crashing down. One afternoon, I came home from school and went to count the money. The box was gone. I thought maybe my mom had moved it. She cleaned my room sometimes without asking. But when I asked her, her face changed. Not confused. Not surprised. Cold. "You mean the fundraiser money?" she said slowly, arms crossed. "Yes," I answered, already feeling the panic rise in my chest. "It's missing?" she asked, but her voice didn't sound surprised. I nodded. "Did you move it?" She was quiet for a moment, then shook her head. And that's when she said the words that would ruin the next 6 years of my life. "Rowan, if it's gone, it must have been your fault." I remember staring at her like she'd slapped me. My own mother. The woman who watched me stay up late every night tallying numbers and writing thank you notes to sponsors. The woman who used to brag to her friends that I was her little overachiever. She didn't ask questions. She didn't give me the benefit of the doubt. She just assumed that I'd stolen it. Or worse, she decided to believe I had. But the thing is, I knew who took it. My younger sister, Lila. She'd been acting strange for weeks. Slipping into my room when I wasn't home. Asking weird questions about the lock on the box. She even joked once, that much money just sitting there? That's dangerous. She always had a way of making bad choices look like jokes. But I never thought she'd go this far. That night, I confronted her. Her eyes darted. Her smile was crooked. And then she said something that still makes my blood boil. "You're the one they all trust. If it goes missing, no one would ever suspect you." And then she walked away. I went back to my mom, heart racing, and told her everything. Every sign. Every reason. But she didn't budge. "You have no proof," she said. "And I won't let you tear this family apart over money." Just like that. No police report. No investigation. No attempt to make it right. She told the school it was a mistake and offered to cover the missing $2,000 herself, quietly, of course. But the damage was already done. Word got out. And somehow, it was my name that got dragged through the mud. The next morning at school, everything felt off. People didn't look at me the same way. Usually, I'd walk into class and someone would wave, ask about the raffle, maybe joke about which teacher was buying the most tickets. But this time nothing. Just silence. And side glances. Like something toxic had walked into the room. At lunch, my friend Vanessa hesitated before sitting down. She didn't even open her tray. "Did you really lose the money?" she asked quietly. I blinked. "What are you talking about?" "The fundraiser cash. People are saying it's gone, and that you were in charge of it." My stomach dropped. That fast? I hadn't even had time to breathe, and already rumors were spreading like wildfire. Worse, the version going around wasn't just that the money was gone. It was that I had taken it. That I had stolen $2,000 from my own class and let my mom clean it up. I tried to defend myself. I swore up and down that it wasn't true, that I'd never touched that money. But you know what I learned? People don't care about the truth when the lie is more entertaining. By the end of the week, I was called into the principal's office. He didn't accuse me directly. He was too careful for that. He just said, "Rowan, given the situation, maybe it's best if you step down from student committee. For now." He didn't look at me. Just shuffled some papers like it wasn't personal. Like I wasn't watching every bit of trust I'd spent years building disintegrate in seconds. When I got home, I told my mom what had happened. I begged to speak up, to say something, to clear my name. She looked at me like I was asking for the impossible. "Rowan, the important thing is that we're moving forward. Dwelling on the past only creates tension. I could barely breathe. Tension? Mom, they think I'm a criminal. I got kicked off the committee. People whisper when I walk by. And then she said it. The sentence that broke something in me I don't think ever fully healed. Maybe this is a lesson in humility. You've always been so perfect. Maybe it's good for you to know what it feels like to fall. I stared at her. This wasn't about Lila anymore. This was about me. This was punishment. And where was Lila? Nowhere. She didn't say a word. Not to me. Not to our parents. Not to anyone. She kept hanging out with her friends, scrolling her phone, laughing like she hadn't detonated a bomb under my life. That's when I knew. She wasn't sorry. And she never would be. Because she didn't have to be. Our mother had built a shield around her, brick by brick, and I was the one left outside, bleeding. By the time graduation rolled around, I didn't even want to go. The trip to New York had been canceled, of course. The fundraiser money never returned. The class budget was shot. And everyone looked at me like I had personally set fire to their dreams. I almost skipped the ceremony altogether. But part of me, a small, bitter part, wanted to walk across that stage with my head held high. Not for them. For me. So I did. I walked across that stage in my honor cords, with my name mispronounced, to lukewarm applause, and I never looked back. I left for college 2 months later. A state school, 2 hours away. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. And for the first time in my life, I was allowed to exist without judgment. No whispers. No stolen glances. No family pretending I was someone else. It was the first time I exhaled in years. I threw myself into classes, into part-time work, into being someone, anyone, other than the girl who'd supposedly stolen $2,000 from her classmates. I changed my number. I unfollowed every family member on social media. I blocked Lila. And when my mom tried to text me during my second semester, just a passive-aggressive, "Hope you're behaving yourself out there," I didn't reply. She didn't text again. 6 years passed. 6 years of silence. I graduated. Got a job. Moved again. Fell in love, and out of it. Bought my first used car. Signed my first lease. Cried over rent. Laughed over cheap pizza. I built a life. Piece by piece. Without them. And just when I thought the past had finally loosened its grip on me, my phone rang. Blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. And then I listened. "Rowan, it's Mom. We really need to talk. It's about Lila. Please call me back." My heart clenched. I hadn't heard her voice in 6 years, not in real time. But it was unmistakable. Still smooth. Still composed. Still acting like nothing had ever happened. I ignored it for 3 days. But curiosity has a way of creeping into the cracks. So I called back. She picked up instantly. "Rowan," she said, like she'd just seen me yesterday. "I'm so glad you called." "What's going on?" I asked. No warmth. No pleasantries. She hesitated. "It's Lila. She's in a bit of a situation. She made some mistakes, and, well, we could really use some help right now." Help? That word echoed in my skull like a hammer. What kind of help? She sighed. Financial. Of course. Of course. 6 years of silence, of exile, of being the villain of the family story, and the first time they reach out, it's for money. I laughed. Not politely. Not bitterly. I laughed the way a person laughs when they're seconds away from screaming. "Let me get this straight," I said. "You let me take the fall for Lila stealing $2,000. You let my name be dragged through mud, kicked me out of your life, and now you're calling because she needs more money." Silence. "You don't understand what she's going through," my mother finally said. "She's in a really vulnerable place. I thought you'd be the bigger person." I smiled, not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. I already was the bigger person, Mom, for years. But I'm done shrinking myself to make room for her mistakes. And I hung up. A week passed after I hung up on my mother. I thought that would be the end. I had said my piece. I had closed the door they bolted shut years ago. But then, Lila reached out. Not a call. Not a voicemail. Just a handwritten letter. Mailed to my apartment. No return address. Shaky handwriting I hadn't seen since high school. Inside, it read, "You probably won't read this. You shouldn't." But I didn't know how else to say it. My hands trembled as I unfolded the rest. I took the money. You always knew. I always knew you knew. I told Mom the day after. She said it would ruin me. So she said we'd let it go. That you were strong. You'd get through it. I'm sorry. For all of it. No explanations. No excuses. Just guilt. But guilt is cheap when it arrives after someone's been buried under the wreckage of your lies for years. At first, I didn't know what to feel. Vindication? Rage? Relief? But what I felt most was nothing. Because the apology didn't change the past. It didn't undo the nights I cried alone in my dorm room, wondering if I had imagined the whole thing. It didn't erase the teachers who looked at me like I was a disappointment. It didn't fix the friendship with Vanessa that faded into dust. It didn't give me back the girl I used to be before they made me the scapegoat. Later that evening, I sat on my balcony with the letter in my lap, watching the sun dip behind the skyline. And I made a decision. I wasn't going to respond. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally did. Because I deserved peace. I deserved a life that didn't revolve around their chaos. I didn't need to prove anything to them anymore. Not even forgiveness. Sometimes, closure isn't an apology. It's knowing you could open the door again and choosing not to. That's real healing. That's how you reclaim yourself.